24h/24, 7 jours sur 7. Radio Grand Lac, à Aix-les-Bains et autour du lac du Bourget, votre radio.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Bonjour à tous ceux qui écoutent Radio Grand Lac 92.1 FM et bienvenue à l'émission Your English Weekly, animée par moi-même, Sinead Dupont-Pochebaron, professeur d'anglais. Cette émission stimule la langue anglaise et l'expression anglaise. Vous pouvez écouter toutes les semaines le mardi de 12h15 à 12h30. Chaque semaine, vous découvrez soit un article inspiré du Gardien, de la magazine Vocab, ou un étudiant de Your English Workshop, ou de l'université, ou un ami comme aujourd'hui. Donc, Your English Workshop sponsor cette émission. C'est une sorte de formation pour l'apprentissage de l'anglais certifié Calliope. Restez à l'écoute dans les 15 prochaines minutes pour notre expression de la semaine et notre conversation en anglais avec Alison Woolley-Vett. Et quelques nouveaux mots de la semaine. La leçon de cette semaine est à peu près le niveau B1+, voire B2. Hein? Donc voilà. Hi and welcome to Your English Weekly, 92.1 FM. Today, my guest is Alison Woolley-Vett, a teacher from Georges Sand in the international section of the Aix. Hello.
Hello, Sinead. How are you?
Hello, Alison. So Alison is a friend of mine. She actually looked after the children in Ambroisin and in Georges Sand when they first opened. So Alison, before we get into our fantastic conversation and talk about Shakespeare, because that is your conversation today.
That is the subject today, yes.
So before we start, we're going to just look at the expression of the week.
So this week's expression is break the ice.
Yes. So do you want to tell our audience what break the ice is?
Well, break the ice is when you are in a group and nobody is speaking, and then someone will make a joke or talk about the weather or talk about something to make us feel relaxed.
Yeah, so it's all a little bit of small talk to make us feel relaxed. Well, stay till the end until we give you a good way of speaking about break the ice. Okay, so, and just coming back to breaking the ice, sorry, Alison, if I'm right, this expression was invented by Shakespeare?
That's right. It was in the play, The Taming of the Shrew.
Ooh.
And he invented about 400 different expressions that we still use today.
Okay, so he was an amazing man. So, Alison, before we talk about Shakespeare and all the writings that he did and all the plays and a little bit of his history, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, so my name is Alison and I am originally from Yorkshire. In fact, I was born in Whitby, which is a very famous town because it's the place where Dracula was written.
Okay.
I work at Collège Georges Sand in Aix in the international section. It's a bilingual program from age 11 to 14.
So college.
Yes, it's college. I have been working there for 13 years.
And so people, of course, they can be able to pass the brevet. Can they pass the international brevet with you?
Yes, that's right. To join the section, the 10-year-old, 11-year-olds need to have a level A2 of English.
Okay, so it's already quite a high level at that age. Huh? Okay, so today we're going to talk about the great William Shakespeare, the English writer. So can you explain a few words to our listeners? Okay, so the words that we're going to hear today is round. What does that mean, round?
So round, it's like a circle, because Shakespeare's theatres, or at that time, they were round.
Okay, so they were circular theatres.
Yes.
Okay, what is a play? Because we know the verb to play, have fun, etc. But what is a play?
So a play is like a show, really.
Exactly.
It usually tells a story.
And it has a plot.
And it has a plot, and it usually has a
beginning, a middle, and an end.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Mysterious.
So mysterious, we don't really know very much about it.
It's very intriguing.
Yes.
Okay. The Elizabethan, because we're going to hear the word Elizabethan. So what does that refer to?
So Elizabethan is about the theatre in Shakespeare's time. He's not the only writer from that time. And it refers to Elizabeth I, the Queen, at that time.
At that time, okay. Writer, because we know the verb to write, and therefore we get the word writer. So what does a writer do?
Well, it's somebody who creates books or films or
plays.
He uses a pen to write
a story.
Yeah.
Okay, hook. That's an interesting word today for our listeners.
Yes, when you hook someone or you're hooked, it means you're very interested in something. You are almost addicted.
Okay, good. Entertain.
So entertain, it's just have fun, amuse, spend a bit of time having a nice time.
Fantastic. Special effects.
So the special effects.
We all know that one.
We all know that one because you just switch the two words to find the French.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'll let you tell us a little bit about Shakespeare.
Okay, so Shakespeare was born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, and he died in 1616. He wrote approximately 37 plays and 154 sonnets. He was also an actor. Even though he is the most studied writer in the world, we don't really know very much about his life. It is very mysterious. He wrote many plays to entertain people, and particularly Queen Elizabeth I, until her death in 1603. The theatre at that time was round or circular, and you can visit a replica, the Globe Theatre, which is situated on the banks of the Thames River in London. There were 2,000 people standing, and then there were seats in a circular shape around. There were no lights, so the theatre had no roof, and the plays took place during the day. So if it was raining, you would have rain. Rain would fall on you.
Yes, you wouldn't. Oh, I'm sure they had umbrellas.
Shakespeare uses many words to describe scenes, as there were no special effects or electricity. In fact, he invented about 400 words and expressions that we still use today. So, break the ice, love is blind, the green-eyed monster, a wild goose chase, cruel to be kind. All those were words that were first seen in Shakespeare's plays.
So, listeners, don't worry. Little by little, over the next few weeks, I will give you the meanings of these expressions.
Great. So, that's what I say. Try to find out what they mean. Only men could be actors. So all the women's parts were played by men. So in Romeo and Juliet, Juliet would have been played by a man. And my favourite is, for example, in the play Twelfth Night, a man plays the role of the lady, Viola, and Viola decides to disguise herself as a man. Would have made the audience laugh a lot.
Of course. We don't need much to laugh, though, do we?
The beginning of each play is very important, as Shakespeare knew he had to hook the audience. For example, the opening scene in Macbeth, where we see three strange witches talking together, or the opening scene of Julius Caesar, where Julius Caesar arrives in the middle of a crowd of people in triumph in the city of Rome. And the most important thing you need to know is that when Shakespeare died, his friends got together and collected all his plays together to publish them in his memory. And this was not published until 1623. We should be really grateful to them because otherwise some
plays would have disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared.
And I think that some plays did disappear, if I'm right, Alison, did they?
I think there's 2. They never found the script.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
okay. And they know they did exist?
Yes.
Okay. So if I was to ask you, which is your favourite? Which is your favourite play? Which one is it and why?
So I think my favourite play is Macbeth because it's very dark and gothic. I think there is a lot of stories that have been influenced by this play. And the witches, they really intrigue me. And they would have really intrigued an Elizabethan audience that was very superstitious.
The witches were very popular at that time.
Yes.
It didn't take much to be considered a witch.
That's for sure.
I think that even if your husband didn't like you too much, it could be an excuse to say,
yes.
No, but we won't go that far, but you know what I mean. So I know there are hundreds of experts, but for you, what do you think is intriguing with Shakespeare?
Well, I think his use of language, words, and also his use of rhymes and poetry. And
so, for example, the sonnet.
Yes.
Like you said earlier. And what exactly is the sonnet?
So a sonnet is a poem with 14 lines and with a rhyming scheme. Yes, that's right.
Okay, with the rhyming scheme.
Yes.
Very good. Now, just, I know you said earlier that there were only men. But how long did that last for? Because I'm sure women came into the scene at some stage.
So I wouldn't really be able to give you a date, but I wouldn't have thought women actresses not until the end of the 18th century. But I could be wrong.
Okay, so just one or two little things because time, of course, is evaporating as always. Can you tell our audience where Stratford-upon-Avon is?
So Stratford-upon-Avon is a small village town near Oxford.
Ah, yes, exactly, near Oxford. Okay, now, we won't have time to talk too much about Georgia Sand, but I know that you like to use Shakespeare in your classes, Alison.
I use Shakespeare a lot in my classes, yes.
Yeah, because my children, all of them did Shakespeare, and thanks to you. So it's good, though, to keep a little bit of, not history, but keep sort of a legacy of somebody who was very popular. And today, do the children still like to play their plays?
Well, yes, of course, yes, because we use drama to help the children to understand the stories. So we use drama a lot in our classes. When I was at school, we just sat and read the plays. It was very difficult to understand. But we use drama theatre and we make the children play the roles so that they understand.
That helps.
Yes.
That helps, yeah. I think, if I'm correct, you played the trumpet, what was it, the Tempest?
The Tempest.
The Tempest, that's what it was, the Tempest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every year we study Shakespeare. We don't always produce a show.
A show, of course, because it's a lot of energy, of course. Okay, so thank you so much for all of that information today, Alison. So let's come back to our expression, break the ice. So, you're right. Break the ice is a common phrase which means to really get rid of the social stiffness that when you meet someone for the first time, you don't really know what to say.
That's right.
So this is where the small talk becomes important. So, for example,
the weather.
Yes, the
English people love talking about the weather.
Exactly, they definitely do. They enjoy that. Well, thank you to all our listeners on 92.1. Well, that's all we have today. But if you wish to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube. And you will see on our Facebook page the expression of the week this week, break the ice. So have a wonderful week. And you know that I'll be back next week with a new guest. Also, stay tuned in next week to listen to another conversation in English. So thanks again, Alison, for coming to us and joining me on the air today.
You're very welcome.
But listeners, stay tuned because you're going to have Jessica at 1 o'clock with all her tips on decoration and tendencies. And at 5 o'clock this evening, you've got the partners of Radio Grand Lac, Santos, with 1 hour and 1 community. So listeners, thank you again. Bye to you from us at you.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Radio Grand Lac.